Welcome back to the North American Challenger Series, everyone. We are just moments away from our second match of the evening. And while the players ready up, we're going to show you what happened last night when Imagine faced off with Vortex. Now, to keep this in mind, Imagine is the former Final 5. No, sorry, Imagine is the former TSM Darkness lineup. Vortex is the former Final 5 lineup, and we'll keep talking about this throughout the time, but you can see the lineups here. Pretty standard team fighting comp over for Imagine, and a lot of really good dive, really good backline damage here from Vortex.
Yeah, thing here from Vortex is just their wave clear is only Veritas, and then Imagine has a poke pattern for late game, so keeping an eye on both mid laners here as the game unfolds, as well as the junglers and seeing what they can bring to the table with early aggression to upset lanes. But we'll see how that game went just right now.
Of course, yeah, we had seen Imagine play through the Challenger Series qualifiers, and we had seen Dardoch be a really big pickup for the team. When we start watching these clips here, he was a carry-style jungler. We had seen his Rek'Sai and I believe his Nidalee to great effect, and he was good at that. This time around, he is playing a little bit of Echo.
Yep. He actually, you can see he's already participated in 3 of the 4 kills, and he was just going for more here. 11 minutes into the game, he's ganked every lane, goes back down bottom to try and make another play, but this one doesn't work out like the others.
It's a really good counter with the rest of Vortex here. The TP is coming in as well, and Wizardry, the new top laner for the roster, also doing a great job. Force the team away. Masquerade now getting chased down so terribly hard. Enough to force some flashes.
But here comes Gate from the side, looking for the cleanup here on the big ol' Ron. And Massacre.
Playing a little bit of Kassadin, and the shields and heals making it happy. This is, by the way, Chow. Chow, Chow, there's no minions. Chow.
Oh,
Chow.
Oh,
no,
oh,
Chow. No. Oh, God. So, you know, Wolfie gets a kill for that one, but still, it's back and forth constantly here. This is another gigantic bloodbath of a fight here. The stun does land at Heaven Time from the
Parallel
Echo
Convergence.
W. Parallel Convergence, thank you. First time I've cast him. And it just keeps going back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth. Wolfie shows up, tries to get Chow, auto attack, then the R on the Wizardry, but Gate from the backside here. You can see even gold right now. 8 kills, 9 kills for Vortex. It's only 15 minutes in and there's 17 kills, but look at this. Vortex,
okay.
Heaven Time?
They chase Heaven Time, but watch Chow. This Lee Sin kick, bam! Hits 1, knocks up 3 more right on top of the Equalizer, and that makes for a great setup. Echo stun or not, Dardoch, you know, he does some decent damage. He makes it to turn one around.
Ooh.
It's a good flash to dodge as well, but still.
That was in him right there. 16 to 16 in kills, 26 minutes in. Equalizer a little far forward. They're trying to get the team off, but look at this.
Yeah, they try to lock down Dardoch, who just doesn't die nearly fast enough. Wizardry kicked off by an auto attack over the wall from the Masquerade. And then, yeah, just clean up here. Gate does whatever he can, but it starts going more and more towards Imagine's way.
Exactly. It was even before that they got the first advantage, real solid advantage, turned it into a Baron, and then they just snowballed to this point in the game. 10k gold up, cleaning up this fight here. A lot of that is off the back of Massacre with that triple kill.
And that catapults Imagine incredibly far up here. 34 minutes in, 3 kills picked up. They go for the game-winning push. The Equalizer doesn't do nearly enough, and the crash into Nexus is all you really need to do. Gate's still going to die, Zonies are not. Easy chase, easy cleanup. And when you got a really disruptive tank line and a whole lot of upfront damage thanks to Xerath rather, it's very easy for this Vayne player to have cleaned up in fights. 11-3 and 2, of course, most kills in the game, but set up very heavily by his team. Good team effort here by Imagine.
And when you have multiple threats like that, you really have to test the shot calling of the enemy team. You only have so many abilities to reach that back line. Who are you going to go for? Is it Vayne? Is it Xerath? And they didn't always make the right choice.
Yeah, so of course a very close game overall. 34 minutes, though there were a lot more kills than minutes. Vortex, Veritas, their AD carry, returning player here, definitely had a good game. You can see 5, 3, and 10 from him, but just, you know, not enough from the rest of the team. And it
good
was
contribution to the damage, though, of the overall
sure.
game. Highest on his team, second highest in the game, I believe, behind Wolf. And then Dardoch, newest member of the team. But like you said, very aggressive jungler, and when I talked to their manager, he was saying the difference between when Sojin plays and when Dardoch plays is the team is just almost completely different. Sojin has very control vision-centric style, and Dardoch is extremely aggressive. He makes the plays, and he's 17 as of April, so he's just barely able to play. just came of age for the Challenger Series.
And he's been great so far. And in fact, he is the guy we're going to be looking out the most in this so far. Great name, of course. Not the actor, but that's fine. And he's just been great overall. What? We made that joke when we were doing the read-through before. And you're just laughing now.
I didn't listen to you in the read-through.
Oh, that's true. That's normal. This is how our casting dynamic works here. Is Irene and I, whatever. Dardoch, nothing but nice things to say about him. We haven't seen much of him, of course. Like you were talking about, one of his it's one of his first competitive debuts. He's been around the scene, but nothing in the spotlight yet.
Yeah, and you talked about how he performed. We saw his Nidalee, we saw his Rek'Sai. When he played against CLG Black, in those 2 games, he had a 41 KDA. He only died 1 time in those 2 games. So when Dardoch is on, he's aggressive, but he's not the type of aggressive where he's going to be punished for it. He's the aggressive where he knows this play is going to work out because he's timed teleports, because he's timed summoner spells.
That's impressive then. So we'll see. This is one of the new upstarts. It's always fun to watch in the Challenger Series. Occasionally you see, pros trying to get their way back in. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes you just see players who just didn't exist before and you're like, surprise, I'm basically amazing.
He didn't exist before. He just there's Dardoch.
You know what I mean by that, though, right? Just out of nowhere, no one thought of this guy before, but turns out this guy is ridiculously a good player. And if this is the story, I mean, so far, to be fair, right, he's played some of the weaker teams, I guess you could say, right? CLG Black didn't make it. Vortex might end up being one of the weaker challenger teams, but his performance so far definitely has been very good. Makes him a player I do want to watch out for, and maybe he carries his team to victory. Once again, his team, Imagine, is the former TSM Darkness. They were 1 game away from being the 6th place team. I believe they tiebreakered with CLG Black back at the end of spring. And I mean, the fact that they even have a win right now is obviously much better than the last split.
Yeah, and now they're coming back. They lost Arc second. They lost their mid laner. We saw him just a moment ago, but they replaced him with Wolfie, formerly DeWolf's Claw, who was a big poke champion player. Big Xerath, we saw it earlier from him as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go back to that today, but I want to see what Dardoch does today. We're just tracking Shrimp. And as a jungler, I like to gush over junglers.
I know.
Shrimp had an absolutely amazing game. Dardoch has had amazing games in the past, but I want to see what he does stylistically this game and if it holds up once again, because small sample size. We've seen him for 3 games so far, and he's looked really good all 3 of them. And of course, you always have to transition that over. What happens when he meets Shrimp? Who gets the best of that? So just extrapolating from what we see today is going to be a big thing for me.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's the beginning of the split for these new lineups, of course. We have to see how well these guys can gel. We saw a very close game with fights back and forth, but how do these teams play if they're forced to play a slower game? Like, what if the team is playing safely enough that those kills don't come through, right? And the ganks don't work out. Okay, you saw in the prior game, all the early Imagine ganks did go well, and Dardoch's Echo had gotten a bunch of assists, but if that doesn't happen here, then how do these guys adapt?
More kills per minute. More kills than there were minutes.
Yep, absolutely. So it's going to be fun to watch out for. We're going to see now how the picks and bans shape up. The Rumble ban comes through from Vortex. Wizardry actually played it last time around, but they're not willing to let Imagine pick that.
So Wizardry, unfamiliar name. Just talked to him. He was actually formerly Miracle. So if you guys remember Coast, when they were playing in the promotion tournament, they replaced Rux with Miracle, and they brought in a mid laner named Ringer, both Korean imports. Yeah. So Miracle came into the top lane to replace Rux on Coast. Now he's coming into the top lane to replace Rux on Vortex.
Yep.
Miracle just keeps taking Rux's spot on teams.
Yeah, but so far it's he's been actually a fairly good addition, I would say. Like from what I saw of his game yesterday, it actually was pretty strong, and his Rumble
ultimates aren't always on point, but I think that he had the most deaths in the game too. Like, it's weird because when you watch that game, you're like, nobody got an advantage off of somebody else feeding or somebody misplaying. It's just when it came down to execution in the fights, it was like, okay, how on the same page is the team?
Yeah, true. I mean, any game that kind of goes like that, you kind of expect it to be really awkward in a way. Like, it's weird that this is the perception, but any game with a ton of kills almost feels like, oh, how sloppy, how can these teams get into fights? But I mean, we see some of the very best teams in the world, like Edward Gaming, who won the Mid-Season Invitational, plays high kill games. This isn't a sign of the teams being bad, it's a sign of the teams being very willing to fight, and sometimes it's completely okay. So
if that's their strength,
absolutely,
they thrive in that type of execution, then power to them.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see as the picks and bans come through. Azir, Callista, and Ryze. Very normal bans to see here from Imagine. Rumble, Echo, Alistar, which, kind of rounds out that basic top tier here. The first pick, Rek'Sai, in for Vortex, which is surprising to me with Gragas still available. It doesn't seem like that would be something you need to steal right away, but that's a choice being made here.
Yeah, yesterday the bans were Azir Callista Gragas and Ryze Alistar Rek'Sai. So Gragas and Rek'Sai were both taken out of the bans so that they're both going to get seen here as junglers, and they're immediately picked up, highly contested between these two, whereas everything else is pretty much banned over again, except for the Rumble. That's a new ban.
Yeah, where we're going to see our 4th champion from Dardoch here, though, as he's got to pick up Gragas for himself, with the Rek'Sai taken away, the Echo banned away, and the Nidalee not being shown here. Thresh also to put alongside us, so Indivisible going to do what he can on a high utility support. Could work very well for Imagine here. Now a couple of counter breaks to go through for Vortex. I do like this Morgana, however, by the way. I like Morgana into Thresh. I think there's good playmaking available with it, and it generally works well in the lane matchup. So I also just really like Morg against Gragas. Gragas can't break Black Shield, and it can ruin your team. So being able to keep your AD carry from getting displaced, I think is a very big deal.
Oh yeah, it's a huge deal, especially depending on what AD carry you draft for yourself. I'm a little worried though, because when I look at Heaven Time, I always think this guy was a jungler. This guy was always playing jungle.
So he's got no mechanics.
Well, he's playing support now. So, great.
No, yeah, he's a converted jungler.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's actually fully converted yet either, because they have multiple support players on the roster for Vortex. I don't know if he's filling in right now or if he's the actual starter for them, because right now, Heaven Time, what I saw from him yesterday, he didn't look completely solid on the Annie that you brought out. And the fact that they were having so many high-impact team fights, his job was to start them off on the right foot with his Annie, with his Tibbers, with his ultimates.
Yeah.
We saw in the clips he was missing a couple of them. So Heaven Time needs to step up, and if he's on this pick champion, maybe that's the one that's going to do it for him. But I'm not convinced by his support play just yet. I want to see more from him today. Okay,
well, then we'll see how we can shape up on this Morgana here. Assuming it is going to be the support Morgana, we can see if it gets role swapped somewhere else. TP Smite Fizz going to be picked up blind for Wizardry, and of course it's theoretically still could be a mid laner, of course. It's something you can keep in mind if Gate wants to play that. He played Kaz in last game, playing Fizz wouldn't be a big stretch.
Yeah.
But the next few picks coming through for Imagine, they're going to pick Gnar into what they assume to be the Fizz matchup all the same, as well as a Corki AD carry, blind pick.
Okay, so Corki very safe AD carry. I'm surprised that Sivir has not been contested at all in this matchup.
Yeah.
It was played yesterday by Veritas, but I would assume Veritas is going to want more damage today, because yesterday he did a lot of damage as Sivir, but he just wasn't able to actually carry the game. So if he goes with something like Vayne, something like Jinx, he'll be able to carry the game fairly easily. And if you put the Black Shield on a Jinx, that's a great example of a champion that you don't want displaced.
Yeah, it's true that it does give you that kind of situation. I'm just... Like, to me, a comp like this, I'd want to see a support mid laner, because you've already got the Fizz, you've already got a well-protected Jinx. Just, like, add more utility to make sure those damage dealers are enough. I'm personally not a huge fan of 3-threat comps. I think it's overkill. I think you actually want to balance things out properly. But looks like with the Kog'Maw, however, they're just going for a whole lot of high damage dealers. I know, like, the Smite Fizz gets somewhat tanky, but he's still a backline diver. Like, he's not like a Maokai who's going to peel for you. He's still going to go for that Corki or whatever.
Yeah.
So
backline diver. This is a lot of really good split pushing, though. They can go 1-3-1.
Yeah, their wave clear is great for that.
Yeah, great wave clear. So far, the wave clear from Team Imagine is pretty much the Corki. If they go with the Xerath, which I assume they will, because Wolfie, he's always been a Xerath player. We've seen him multiple times. He was in the Challenger Series last time as well. Not in qualifiers, and even last year as the Wolf's Claw when we had seen him. He's always just a Xerath player within that champion out with the poke. And now he's up against an AP Cog. It's kind of a tall order, though. AP Cog has a really good time.
AP Cog
a lot of these matchups.
Yeah, I mean, so here's what I know about AP Kog'Maw. So basically, he has a weak laning phase, but around level 11 is when Luden's Echo and your third blue buff and level 11 hits all at the same time at like 50 minutes into the game, and then bam, I'm AP Kog'Maw. Everyone can, you know, go get wrecked by me. Xerath is actually a fairly good laner and has good gank assist. Like, Grag is a good ganker. Xerath has a stun and a bunch of CC. So like, this is a matchup where I could totally see Wolfie being okay splitting farm, but also potentially getting kills in the matchup.
Yeah, he's going to take cleanse for himself on the AP Cog so that he can negate some of that from the Xerath stun. But Chao is not going to be hanging out in that lane. Chao's going to be looking most likely bottom and possibly top. We'll see what he ends up where he ends up going.
These lanes actually don't even look very gankable.
Yeah, they're not that gankable. Like, Morgana binding is what you're really going to look for. Flame chompers as well. Top lane if he throws out the fish, because then it prevents Gnar from jumping for that long period of time, or else he just gets knocked out. Like, it's not ideal. There's not
really
a lot of gank assistance, but you're never going to go towards that AP Cog lane unless it's a counter gank. Maybe if the Xerath is out of position, you can go for it, or you're trying to really just snowball him. But what I saw previously was they're just having fights all around the map.
Yeah,
You're just going to try to fight them in the jungle. That's what I would probably do if I was Chow, is I'd go try to find him in the jungle and mess around a little bit with Dardoch.
Well, we saw that go really well for Shrimp last game. I mean, if you can go live in your opponent's jungle and make his life hell and just prevent ganks from ever happening, that's a pretty good thing to be in. You've got a bunch of heavily scaling lanes at Jinx, who's probably fine 2-on-2 on a Morgana counter into the Thresh. Uncontested, that lane matchup's probably totally fine. Kog'Maw just wants to farm back and forth, and Fizz just wants to keep scaling up on Cinderhulk Fizz. So yeah, if Chow can keep anything from happening early game, it's probably not bad for Vortex. We'll see if that happens, or if Dardoch can keep his hard carry game going and crush people on Gragas.
Yep. That's what they're looking for there. This team composition from Imagine, very mid-game spiked. They can have a whole bunch of team fights back-to-back with a lot of impact. And then you look over at Vortex, it's very skirmish-oriented. It's all about that team fight later on. They have a really late-game comp. So Imagine's going to have a point in the game where they are definitely stronger than Vortex if everything is just equal. And then Vortex just shoots above them in terms of their contribution or how effective they are in the game.
Well, then a bit of a clock here for Imagine to get the early game going well. Jinx and Cog scaled to infinity, and that's a very scary thing. One last champ select point. I realized Masquerade, he blind picked his Corki after seeing Fizz. I think Corki definitely one of the safest champions at getting away from a Fizz, whether it's an Ignite or a Smite Fizz. So definitely, I think likely picked for that matchup, and it will keep him safe. It'll help dilute the power of that champion somewhat.
No invades from either game today. Everybody just playing it out.
It's like, I like how the wards like all line up. Like they're like, look, down to the bottom, blue and red together, up by the dragon, blue and red together, mid lane, up by the other red buff. It's so nice how they match.
They just placed them so close together. They're reactive wards. You placed one here, I placed one here.
It's like it's 1995 and I have 3D glasses on. Like the wards pop out in front of my eyes.
Man. Just brought me back there. I forgot about those things. But it looks like it's going to be a lane swap here from Vortex. Since they don't have the vision, they're just going to try. And it's really good by them because it's a very scary lane, the Corki early on.
I like this, though, because it's going to give chance for the Smite Fizz to go be happy in jungle well. Even though I still like their 2-on-2 matchup, it gives a big advantage for their specific 1-on-1, which I really can't hate on at all. So I think slowly Vortex.
Oh yeah, you definitely want to have that Smite in the top lane in your jungle early on. Big ol' Ron, he's going to be kind of relegated to trying to farm with the Boomerang early on. They didn't get the freeze top though. That's really the only caveat here, is it doesn't look like it froze naturally. If they froze it by themselves, and I gotta go take a look.
Like what they actually did for it? Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know if they did Gromp or not. I didn't check closely.
No, they actually didn't. They were lane swapped it just kind of late in the top lane. So they did. Okay. Yeah, it's going to slow push out, and then it's eventually going to hit that turret. But you can see Chow and Wizardry are already on that top side of the map. If Big ol' Ron stays here, he's going to be level 1 when they dive him, unless he picks up some scraps of CS on the way over there. This is just perfect timing in the top lane. They're going to try to dive him soon.
Oh, this is going to be all kinds of wonderful then. I mean, meanwhile, you're seeing the jungler in support of Imagine kind of chilling the other side of the map. They won't be finding... Oh, no, they're looking for the Kog'Maw, I think. You might see a body slam flash, maybe a hook play or something. I think there's a chance they can go for Gate, who's already been pushed under his turret a fair bit. But there's the 4-man push. Big ol' Ron completely zoned off of that turret. And, of course, Jinx, one of the best turret killers. And before level 3, actually, she has, like, full minigun power anyway.
This is actually really bad for Imagine, because they don't have 4 people on that bottom turret. This is Wizardry with more experience in gold. The top laner's ahead. They're getting this turret fairly easily in this top lane, and they aren't even getting it answered down bottom, especially at the speed at which they're taking it up top.
Yeah. All it's really going well for Imagine is the fact that Wolfie's winning the mid lane matchup by 3 CS. The problem is, even though Gate's getting harassed a ton, it's a Flask Kog'Maw, so even the damage taken is not really even meaningful. Veritas gonna kill off that turret.
At the right moment, too. Down bottom, though, this turret still has a lot of work to be done on it. There's a big minion wave here, though.
Yeah. They managed to equalize it before any reset's going to happen. So, to be honest, Imagine will be able to tie that up without really any consequence here. And the gold's going to go back to equal. The turret dies later, but who cares?
Yeah. They ended up salvaging it. They were able to get there fairly quickly.
Attempted gank. Finding, not quite gonna
the
hit.
S key!
Nice.
Wolfie with the juke and the damage
the
return.
double hit. Yep.
The line up there. So best of a bad situation there, and they actually just go even after everything's all said and done.
Nicely done, yeah. Small, tiny gold lead for Imagine. And even the mid laners managed to go equal, so I really can't hate on anything that happened this early game. The minor leads haven't meant much. By the end of it all, we're going to see where the lanes go afterwards. Looks like both top laners have been sent top lane. Interesting, actually, because with Dragon up, of course, both dual lanes should have to be on this side. Imagine, though, to be fair, though, probably could have gotten Dragon with the fact that their dual laners on that side of the map. So maybe they still did waste a lot of time running around the jungle when they could have gotten a Dragon kill.
Wizardry in a good spot here. Chow gonna look for big ol' Ron. He'll get some damage off, but big ol' Ron will be able to return some if he wants. But no, he just walks straight away.
All right, walks away. Doesn't even put his trinket down on this one. He's going to recall in the tri-brush and stay safe. But of course, Rek'Sai saw that. Rek'Sai stopped the recall just now. Life is a little bit painful then for big ol' Ron's Gnar. Actually chooses to walk back to his lane afterwards. So, all right, Chow gets one deep ward. He'll track one of the possible routes Dardoch could take through the jungle.
What I'm most concerned for right now is just the AD carry items. The Veritas went for the Avarice Blade first back, and now the Massacre just has full-on combat stats ready to brawl Veritas. He's also got a CS advantage now, and it's just slowly...
Chow's on a wall.
They see each other, but Chow...
Hops out safely enough. I guess it's not the worst thing in the world, but yeah, not exactly ideal. Some damage dealt, a bit of time wasted. Now here's the hard engage towards Veritas. You talk about the average blade being greedy, and right away, just exploding him. Heaven Time not doing much for himself. Actually, it's hooked on, and now the chase is here. Heaven Time does have flash. He binds the Thresh. He's able to walk away, but 1-0 Imagine.
And that kill going over to the right person, and like I said, average blade, very greedy. Veritas still has flash. Put on the wrong side because he was wrapped around there. Oh, man.
I mean, he could have bought a, not that pickaxe would have made him win the fight, but he could have bought a pickaxe. He had the money to do so. Just, yeah, and I mean, just got punished by a really good play.
Buying a pickaxe may have dissuaded them from taking the fight, just because combat stats are just so huge.
Sure, of course.
Get to poke from afar, whittle them down, but the average blade really doesn't do a whole lot. It's very greedy. Down 20 CS now for Veritas. He'll catch a bit of that wave, but the fact that Massacre and Invisible were able to just outplay that bottom lane is pretty big.
Chow taking a lot of damage, and actually, one missed. If he had hit one more of those ultis, go! Flash trade there. Now Gate trying to run away. Keep in mind though, Gragas is not far from this one. Dardoch.
He has flash too.
Body slams, lands it regardless. Level 4 though on the Gragas means he'll land a slow, but Gate gets away after burning both summoners.
They get both summoners for that. Really, really good trade. That wasn't even a trade. That was just a mugging of spells at that point.
Keep in mind though that Dardoch didn't actually go for the push on the top lane. He looked for the gank for a second and backed away off of the ward. But Wizardry is winning the battle against Big Ol' Ron, so that advantage does really exist, and it is really manifesting here. The Doran's Ring Fizz feeling pretty good about this one. Wolfie actually building a small lead for himself in the mid lane as well, so different lanes winning by different amounts here. But overall, the gold lead is because of First Blood.
Yeah, Wizardry, he will have to go for the challenging smite though fairly early on. That takes a big chunk of his gold and his advantage, and it turns it into pretty much non-combat stats that are active, but you have to use your challenging smite. So how he uses the challenging smite, how often he tries to trade with Big Ol' Ron is really going to be the payoff for that item. Because it's not like, oh, now I have my Phage or my Sheen, and now I get to just dive in on you. Very windowed in terms of power.
See those windows open up long enough for him to deal some meaningful damage. Masquerade and Indivisible still chilling in the bot lane. Sheen plus most of Phage for Corki is definitely a lot of damage. But this turret is already dead, so there's really nothing much for the Imagine dual lane to do unless they actually go for a dragon kill. Otherwise, they're just chilling, trading back and forth on the farm.
This is bad too, because this is frozen towards Imagine. They get to have this wave shove out. Oh, man. Vortex in a horrible position here in this bottom lane. This is just going to be more CS going over to the Imagine squad and Massacre. Massacre, I mean, last split, we kept talking about Veritas and how he was really high, like rank 1 solo queue player, 80 carry. Now, he's on a team that's changed up a tiny bit. We have some new members here, Chow, Wizardry, different support than before. But it's not working out as well as before. He had a good game on Sivir yesterday, the 5-3 and 10, but everybody else seemed to fall to the wayside. Now, he's the lane that's being exploited send CS down. He can't even be in that lane anymore. They just move him top. Wizardry is now in the jungle, and that advantage Wizardry had is pretty much going to be moot now, so that Veritas can pick up CS. So they're kind of trading advantages now, or an advantage they had, just to try and get somebody back to even. And even then, it's not going to be completely even.
I mean, the thing is, Vortex can actually really easily break that freeze apart. It's not like it's frozen like with a tier 1 turret on the other side of the map dead. It's easy to show up like a mid laner or an AD carry.
It's going to go for the fish.
Right, this kind of stuff can easily happen all time. Massacre is going to be safe here, but like, Veritas shouldn't have been denied for this long, to be completely honest with this one. But, you know, being held down to this Jinx, who's still sitting on only an average blade, very rough spot to be in. They send him to the top lane now instead, so we can freeze that lane, but this means now that Dragon is not contestable easily by this team. Big Ron can keep staying top with his teleport, and Imagine's going to get more advantages here.
And you can see Massacre. I want to see if he actually freezes this next wave that's coming up, because the waves were just equalized. Is he going to pull it into the brush? Nope, he's going to hard shove it.
Because I think they want to do Dragon soon. Right now they don't have the wards for it, so if they did, it would be kind of awkward, but a bunch of new wards in Dardock's inventory. This is honestly something that could easily go into Imagine sights here.
Yeah, this looks like a Dragon. Shove it out. There is some vision in the river, though, for Vortex.
Yeah, they got Scuttle.
And the reason you do this is because you have your TP top already, and they have their AD carry. So
it's awkward as well.
Best case scenario, it's 5v4 in your favor.
Best case scenario, nothing. Morgana went top lane too, but the outer turret's already dead. There's enough time, I think, for Imagine to start, like, roam up Xerath now. Just have your ult ready to, like, wave through whatever wave shows up for top tier 2. Let Gragas hold mid for the team, or even send Corki there. Who cares, because bot lane's already pushed. Imagine shouldn't lose anything for this.
They're going to try to shove bottom. Chow moving up right now. You can see Dardock also moving up that top lane.
Smart by Wolfie to check for Chow. The W on that brush, maybe Rek'Sai is chasing there. Rek'Sai is hiding somewhere else.
They had vision Dardock. They know that Chow is somewhere in this topside jungle. They just don't know where. And now they actually stop everybody from pushing, but look at the bottom wave. They've already gotten a whole lot of damage on this turret with that Sheen.
Wow, wow. Indivisible takes a couple turret shots, but yeah, a lot of damage dealt here. Looks like the threat of Imagine heading top lane was enough to keep Vortex from pushing, even though the defense was actually undermanned.
Yeah.
Vortex could have gone hard for top lane tier 2 and TP'd Fizz or something. Imagine pushing the bot lane with their AD carry support, not respecting the top lane push, ends up paying out for Imagine here, and they're just getting farther and farther ahead. Vortex really just not ever being in the right place at the right time.
So here's the thing, is that this is a composition that Vortex, if they make it to late game, they have so many advantages with the Jinx and the AP Kog'Maw.
Yeah.
So there's still a way for Vortex. It's only a 1,000 gold lead, and if this composition, like frankly, if these compositions end up even by the mid game, it's a win for Vortex. Right now they're falling behind in tiny strategic moves and waves and stuff like that, but if they end up not giving up a whole lot of kills, it's pretty much a win for this blue.
I mean, a 1,200 gold lead at 20 minutes is not exactly crazy. That's totally, yeah, as you talk about the fact that this comp outscales, I agree. Like, this is not a big enough of a lead for Imagine to feel comfortable here.
Yeah.
Wizardry's still scaling up decently. He's a bit down in CS, but he's building a freeze for himself, which is going to be fairly... Actually, no, they can just send Corki Thresh up there and they should be safe.
Yeah. No reason to hit the panic button for Vortex or the phone it in button for Imagine just yet.
The phone it in button?
Yeah, there's a phone it in
Is that just speed dial?
Yes, exactly. Speed dials where you phone it in, just one button.
That's what I'm going to use from now on. Guys, we can speed dial to win this game. What are you?
Hello? Oh.
A sparrow? No, you're like a pigeon, right?
No,
That's not pigeons make?
Pigeon's like...
Close enough.
I don't know what... Sparrows probably go like...
You know what's funny, actually? Phoning it in by carrier pigeon. Very similar terms.
Boom! But
you put them together. Indivisible,
though. Boom, here comes Dardock.
Ooh, closing the hook. Doesn't quite Mad Life game, but the
TP.
teleport comes in from Wizardry. He wants him. The Spike gets chunked out right away. Indivisible still killed off by Chow. Jigdogger comes by, does not land the kill. Oh, what a nice ulti. Veritas not stunned means he will survive the Xerath onslaught. Heaven Time goes for the hard engage. Does land the stun. In comes Chow. What an explosive fight. 2 for 2. Veritas actually getting the better of this one. Vortex overall as well. Dardock still... Ooh, he missed the body slam out of Chow, I think.
And Chow missed the E as well. Didn't even get in range of them. Oh, he's dead.
Will get chunked out. So 2-2 is the overall result of this fight. And it stays in the favor of Imagine after all the teleports.
Yeah, Heaven Time had a really good 3-man Morgana ultimate there. The Soul Shackle's coming up huge in that fight. The double TP and Big Ol' Ron in the perfect spot in terms of his rage bar to transform into Mega Gnar. But this wave clear is turned online. There's no mana left on gate, though. If they continue this siege, they'd get some turret damage, but instead, they're going to go to these bottom waves. You're going to see it right here. The Lantern backwards, the flank around. Boom. Flashes out of it. Double TP comes down. But look at that rage bar when he gets here. Already almost full. They go after him. Gets away, but oh, not enough. Wolfie throwing the ultis out. Puts Veritas out of the fight for the most part. Triple man. That's the big part right there. Because Veritas, now he gets to walk back up completely unafraid. He doesn't get to get excited, though, to continue. And that E. Oh. Darthawk and Chow. Ease. Oh, I don't need this spell.
Yeah, so you're seeing like the results of over-aggression and a little bit of bad team fight calling, where Chow's going for a fight that his team's not ready to follow up on. It did hurt them in the end. Vortex had a really good start to it, ends up going only equal despite the great play from Heaventime here. We're back to the same spot we were a little while ago, 1,000 gold lead, but Luton's Echo now done on gate. Blue up level 11 here as well. Kog'Maw is arrived, much like the Toucan, and it's a minute 20 till Dragon.
Yep. Has a lot of his core items completed. The tier already been charging up. And now he's at those level breakpoints as well. So Gate completely ready to start taking this game into his own hands.
Nice steal by Chow.
Yeah, Chow though.
Finds Dardock, finds the binding as well. The fact the team waited lets them get the kill onto this Gragas. Great setup here. Gate actually snipes the kill from mid lane.
But that's the right person to get that kill onto. You don't want it onto Chow. You want that onto Gate. 100%. Heaventime though.
Thankfully for them, lands the binding, which means no follow-up available for Indivisible, but Chow still going to get jumped on. Bit of damage comes through from Wolfie.
Ulti.
Heaventime 1. Heaventime 2. Heaventime 3. Wolfie snipes some 100% accuracy in that instance.
The Xerath main.
Yep.
Throw him out there. Wizardy, though.
He's got no fish. Hops the slow. Big ol' Ron, thankfully for him, is now only Mininar, but Wizardry, way too aggressive. Stunt lands. Big misplay. And again, Vortex just cannot keep advantages. Gate goes down to Masquerade. And Imagine, once again, getting the better end of the backside of the fight.
Way too aggressive. You can't be that aggressive with this type of team composition this early on.
Yeah. They got one kill. Good. Back out.
Exactly. Take your tiny advantages. Force waves up. Don't keep brawling them in the jungle. Wolfie, though, played that immaculately. The Xerath main throwing out all three of his Rite of the Arcanes, all three hitting onto Heaventime. Really well played there to give his team that advantage. Another dragon falling into Imagine's hands. We'll see if Chow can do anything about it. It's going down fairly quickly, though, and he's not even going to come.
Just imagine if Vortex had taken that one kill and then just grouped on towards Dragon, just gone on down, taken the objective, gotten that off the field, and then were able to play the turtle game for 6 more minutes. Unfortunately, an overstep of their boundaries. A hook over the wall. Heaventime. Oh. Black Shield's on, but gets broken too early. Nice kill picked up there. That's why you toss a binding or a puddle over the wall first.
Yep.
I think it was down from the previous brush he was checking, but still. Good pickup there on the backside of Dragon that he knew was just taken. You know people are around
Trinity
there.
Force completed onto the Massacre.
Early enough as well.
Both summoners for Veritas, though. Oh, he just used his W.
Oh, man, that's a lot of damage. Jumps over the wall.
Through the flame choppers.
Hit, flash. Huh. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
good play,
man.
Great.
The Massacre 8 just busting onto the scene.
4-0-0. Really far ahead and using the lead well.
As last game yesterday, 11-3-2 on Vayne. Amazing player so far that we've seen. Up against Veritas, who's no pushover. We saw him last season too. Really, just you have to keep your eye on this Imagine squad. They were TSM Darkness, the 5th place spring split team, but they look completely different now. They don't look like that 5th place team anymore.
Nope. These guys are showing up quite nicely. Even Big ol' Ron, who was one of the worst performing top laners from the spring split, is actually having a pretty solid game himself. So far, so good. The new bot lane for Imagine with the replacement AD carry, definitely an improvement here. And the replacement for Arcsecond, who left for Winter Fox.
Yeah.
Wolfie definitely doing a great job of fulfilling almost the exact same role of a high KDA siege mid.
Yep, and he's always going to play a siege mid. That's the thing with Wolfie. This guy's main is AP Ezreal mid. Loves the Ziggs, loves the Xerath, loves Vel'Koz as well. So he's just a big poking mid AP mage guy.
So far, so good for the Imagine squad. 8-3 in kills, 9 Sorry, 3,000 gold up. I saw the 9 in their gold and got excited.
It's time to try and siege against the Jinx and the Kog'Maw.
Good luck with that one.
It's difficult.
And the thing is, Fizz is well set up to split push up against Big Ol' Ron. Ninja Tabby picked up on him. Looks like he's going towards, I'm going to guess Iceborne Gauntlet on this Fizz as well with the Sapphire Crystal here. I'm going to guess that'll be a Sheen. I guess, sorry, it'd be Sheen into maybe Triforce, but a Sheen at him, I think, either way, I think is most likely for him. And you're going to see that Big Ol' Ron is not able to get any big advantages here, so the split push is not going to mean anything. And you mentioned how hard it is to siege against this. They just stopped. Vortex realized that they could defend forever, and Imagine realized that they couldn't do it. Yeah,
and Vortex need to be patient this game. But
careful, he's back on
patience.
Goodbye. Well, never mind. Fizz not going to split push well against this Gnar anymore. Big Ol' Ron, big play there. Overdive by Wizardry for sure.
Not patient.
Yeah.
Trying to duel him. You saw that, Fizz. We went up to the top lane. He was already trying to poke that Mega Gnar.
Yeah, no, you're right. I take back what I said about Wizardry earlier. It does seem to be a pretty rough split for him so far. Veritas is going to flash one of the R's. Does dodge all of them. Masquerade, though, going to get the kill right here. Boop.
5-0-0 for the Massacre. 0-3 and 0. It's frankly a massacre in the bottom lane.
Yep.
He's having a great performance. He's going Trinity Force second, or Infinity Edge after the Trinity Force.
More spell damage.
Well on his way.
Still good team fighting.
Well on his way here in this bottom lane.
It's like he stopped to get a drink of water while walking down the street. Well on his way.
Well, he found a well on his way, yeah.
Yep.
But he is well on his way to taking this turret too. And another advantage for Imagine. And the thing about Wolfie in this mid lane as well, not only does he just play Siege champions for the most part, he is also an extremely vocal player. He gives a lot of information to his team. He's constantly making calls, but when he's sieging from the backline, he's able to make them, and it seems to be working out. He knows when he wants to siege, but that bottom lane, when trying to break the siege, is going to be difficult for him from this line.
Yeah, and it just looks like Imagine have all the answers right now. The split push isn't going Vortex's way. The siege, granted, it's going slowly because of all the wave clear from Gate and Veritas, but by and large, there's not a whole lot that Vortex can do about whatever Imagine wants to do around this map. 2 dragons to 0. Third one comes up in a minute and a half. Turrets might not go down, but Dragon and Baron can be constantly controlled.
Yeah, you do have to be very careful, though, if you are the Imagine squad. It's 4.4k advantage in your favor, but Vortex, if you mess up against this comp, if you let the AP Cog get some kills, you let some resets fall over to Veritas, he completes another item, you're in a very rough spot.
Yeah.
Your Corki will kind of level off a little bit. You'll have a lot of poke, but Gate's going to outpoke both of them later on. He'll have more consistency in his long range. He'll be able to reach them, and if he can just get them out of the fight before it even starts, it'll be terrible. Look at this Dardoch showing up. This is a 2-on-2, but
Do what damage they can to Big Ol' Ron. Ooh, and he's gonna get hit up. Oh man, Dardoch gets the kill though, just in time. Wolfie tries to help, still no assist. 2 ultis in a row, he goes for someone and they die or they get away just in time. But still, it's just getting farther and farther away from Vortex there. Even that fight was probably okay. It was a nice roam by Heaven Time. It was a nice attempt for the kill. They nearly got Big Ol' Ron, but it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And now Imagine continuing to control the southern jungle. They've got so many good wards to make sure Draken goes their way for sure. I don't know what Vortex could possibly do to get back into this one except for hope for that miracle misplay. And 4 kills going into their big carries.
And one of the things that speaks about this game is even though Imagine has 11 kills, nobody has more than 5 kills that they participated in. Everybody on the team is like 4 kills, 5 kills participated in between them, which means these are different skirmishes, different people getting picked off here all across the map. And that's where you're getting outplayed in multiple areas. It's not just one member who's kind of having a rough game. It's a lot of the team is not stepping up. A lot of the team is getting caught out and playing into the hands of Imagine early on. You're not playing around your spikes.
Yeah, 3 of Imagine's last 4 kills were unassisted solo kills. Big Ol' Ron killed Wizardry in the top lane for Wizardry overstepping. Masquerade killed Veritas twice, 1v1 in the bot lane without Wolfie hitting anything. It's just Vortex playing impatiently, playing like, oh god, we're behind, but I can make a move, I hit an item. Chow trying against onto Wolfie, getting a lot of damage done, but flash away, keeps him safe. It is a flash down, though. Finally a move by Vortex that wasn't punished.
Oh, Rocket. Rocket. Oh, he's gone!
And finally a kill comes through after a long drought. Well played by Vortex. Veritas hiding in the fog of war, waiting for the recall. Big deal there. And 2 assists go over is actually a big deal as well.
Got him. Big kill there. They needed that.
Level lead though. Smite only drops off the Banshee's Veil, but it buys some time for Gate to show up. But he's gonna miss. Yeah, Meganar is here, but still a lot of damage coming through all the same. A great dodge by Wizardry, a bind by Heaventime, and finally, Vortex finding these glimmers of hope. Soul Shackle's gonna stun. Big ol' Ron is one shot from dead. They get him. Gate, his second kill of the game. A turret goes down as well. Vortex.
Here comes the squad though. Everybody is here.
As long as Gate gets his ult to go back to 40 mana, they're going to be okay here. Chow lands the knockup. He's getting a bit low on health, but it's okay because he's still tanky. Nice bind from Morgana. Vortex gets out, 2 kills to nothing.
Yep, and they make it about a 3,000 gold difference between these two teams. This was a very bloody matchup yesterday. It's going to get bloody once again. Both these squads want to fight, and that's what I'm seeing. Look at that Gate caught out of position.
Yep, 6-0-0. Who needs assists? More kills by the aggressive Corki, getting ahead, stacking high attack damage. Just landing all the abilities in a row. Nicely done here by him.
And when he catches you out and he crits you like that at the start, it's really rough. You can't get away from that. No flash up for Gate. And with him down, it's a decent amount of wave clear off the table, and they get this blue buff from the Kog'Maw. That's the biggest part of that play. That they give that blue buff over to Massacre, and it's not in Gate's hands.
I mean, that's the cool thing is there's so much cleanup damage here from the Corki. His Triforce crits, if his Triforce buff and he crits, is 720 damage.
Oh, watch for Wolfie's ulties. 1, 2.
Ooh. And Dardoch does get stunned up. Maybe he won't get the kill here. The shield from Heaventime's locket.
Oh.
Or thanks to Chow, rather. Gotta keep him alive.
Dardoch had ulti as well. He was just too afraid to throw it out there.
Too high. I mean, she's got a Chalice. There's actually enough magic resist on Morgana to have not died to it. Thanks to the locket of Chow. So, yeah, imagine slowing down ever so slightly. They're still at 4,000 gold, but 4,000 gold this late on. I mean, it starts to matter less and less over time. Jinx is at 2 items. She's getting what I'm hoping is a Last Whisper third just to spike a little bit sooner and be useful in fights. Another attempt here by Imagine. They're going to go for this one. Zap's going to miss. Chow trying to run. Veritas gets struck. Ooh, nearly hitting Gate. But Chow just trying to buy some time. Masquerade diving in, but 2 crits will kill him. He's got to be careful. Veritas gets the trade kill back, but it's still a 2 for 1. But what else can Vortex really even do here? Heaventime gets hit by the Xerath Q. Fight continues in the backline. Goes Fizz and Wizardry putting a kill on the board for the first time this game. Looking to deal some damage to Dardoch. I don't know if he's got enough damage, though. He certainly doesn't have a lot of health left.
Oh, poor one out for his home.
Down. That fight went 3-2, I believe. More Imagine advantages. The first assist of the game for the Masquerade as well. And
so Gate flanked there by big ol' Ron. Didn't even have to use his TP for that. Ooh. Wolfie has his ulti again. Hope you got your shoes on.
1, 2.
Oh.
Yeah, flashed 1, missed 2. Still, got Heaventime's flash.
Yeah. This game is, once again, like I said, about to become very bloody. Imagine they have the 3 dragons. This might be a 5-dragon game for them when everything's all said and done. You see the position here? They don't have Heaventime. They don't have Wizardry just yet. Chow just trying to build and buy time. All 5 members of Imagine on your screen already. They get Veritas. Massacre goes down. But at this point, Heaventime shows up. He doesn't have any damage to capitalize off of his Soul Shackles, and Wolfie is completely untouched in this fight. That's the dream right there for Xerath, when nobody's on him, and it was a 3v5 to start. Vortex need to get on that same page if they want to stand a chance in this game. Oh, look at that! Oh,
man. The Masquerade, for how far ahead he was early on. This is actually the second fight in a row where he played too far forward in the replay. He didn't actually need to chase Jinx because the Gnar would have killed him, but he chased in, traded kills away. This time around, up by himself, gets caught up by a great binding by Heaventime. Even though they get the trade kill, Heaventime did die. You don't want, like, when you're a 7-180 carry, not dying is more important than getting a kill. Because just the threat of your champion existing on the map gives your team so much pressure. Thankfully for Imagine, he will respawn in time for a dragon. There's really no hope of Vortex rushing that down before Corki arrives. And even with the Corki missing, Vortex have to recall, have to heal up. They let Imagine get ward control while missing their most farmed member, which is incredible to me. But Imagine are getting the time to set this objective up.
Vortex, though, they'll all be there. If Gate can poke beforehand, it'll be really big for them. They don't see that ward. They didn't actually get the sweeper onto that ward. Man. It's just out of the vision. They will see it, though, with the pink that they just put down. Coming into this fight, it's going to happen here. Vortex, they need to stop the Dragons from Imagine, because Imagine, that's their late game ticket.
Yeah, Imagine Dragons can be pretty important. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of damage. Dardoch gets rooted up, lands explosive cast, but doesn't move anyone meaningfully. War's traded back. Another great buy.
Trying to get Veritas.
Landing a lot of good CC. The fish means nothing, though. Wizardry gets nothing done here. Big ol' Ron now is in the mix. Double stun. Goodbye to 2 members. This one, no, only 1 kill picked up. Big ol' Ron's going to go down to Veritas.
Gate's out of mana. They can't continue this. Wizardry.
Caught out on the backside, though. He wanted to flank. He's not going to get anything done here. Can't juke it up the skills. Great pickup there. Imagine, again, getting more here. And Corky to clean on up. So, Imagine Dragons number 4. I'll bet my life these guys are going to be winning this game.
All right, moving on. You can see Gate out of mana that fight, didn't have a blue buff, didn't have a whole lot going for him, but the thing here is 5 Dragons. That's Imagine's ticket. Once they get those 5, it'll be very difficult for Vortex to do anything about it. Their squad can play from behind with their siege. It's only a 5k gold deficit still for this late game squad.
Yeah, but there's no smoke and mirrors here. We know that Dragon 5 is... You're losing it. Is the easy and obvious route to victory for Imagine here. And they've got enough poke. Not like...
Oh, Chow's here, but wow, a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. Heaven time. 1 hit from Dead. No, they can't get it, but watch out because Kog'Maw poke is here. 2 more hits would have killed the Corky. Huh. Sarah trying to find Heaven time.
Oh, he just showed himself on the minion wave.
Oh, good juke at the very end there. Now Indivisible with a lot of health. Chow really hit out. Oh no, he clicks it. Oh god! And he goes down to Wolfie. That's a copy of Eris from this one.
Oh,
a great rocket to Veritas. Yeah, definitely scary. Now keep in mind, Big ol' Ron only has 1 armor item. It's just the Randuins. And we're at 3 item Jinx here. There isn't an armor tank on Imagine. The right team fight, Veritas 1v5s this. Yeah,
Veritas with the last Whisper already, so he's just going to shred through that Randuin's Omen. Only armor item in sight, like you said. They've just been prioritizing the magic resist because they know Gate will be...
Fizz and an AP Cog.
Exactly. Like. Fizz and Kog'Maw will both be online at some point in this game, given enough time. 4,000 gold difference, though. 4 Dragons for Imagine. There's still ways into this game. They're going to try to go for Veritas here, though. Oh, flashed into him.
Oh, man. Yeah, body slam flash. Veritas going to get flashed on by the Masquerade. I don't know if he needed to, but it gets him the kill, though. Lucardo goes over to Corky. Now the chase in towards Gate. AP Cog definitely hard to dive, but Big ol' Ron wants it. A beautiful explosive cast by Dardoch to buy some time. Big ol' Ron lands the boomerang, gets rooted up, gets fished, but who cares? He's Mega Gnar. He's got no cares in the world at all.
When you're able to just pick off the threats one by one, just look at Vortex, the 2 members dead. Killed Veritas, big threat. Off the field, while you were killing Veritas, you didn't even have to think about Gate. And then when you killed Gate afterwards, Veritas was dead. That was just pick off one, pick off another. Big advantage there. Baron gonna fall into the hands of Imagine.
Yeah, it's not a risk. Wizardry's TP is down. He chose to farm the bot lane instead. No attempted steal. Clean Baron pickup. And, man, Heaven Time just keeps getting hit. Just every time. Wolfie's got something against him.
I was like, how low is the cooldown on Wolfie's ultimate, but it's not actually going down. I'm like, no.
60 seconds. It's like 70-ish.
Yeah. There we go. 55.
The base cooldown with CDR is 77.5.
All right, so every time he has that up, he's just going to throw it out, try to deal some damage. But that's the beauty of the poke Xerath. And kind of the sign of a Xerath veteran is you're not just using it to pick people off, you're using it before the fight to get people low so that they don't want to fight you in the first place.
Yep.
It's how Tristanas would use their R's in lane 2, right? You just use Buster Shot over and over and over again. Caitlyn's ace in the hole, right? Just poke them out so they don't want to fight you and you get an advantage that way.
As long as no one's got a Bloodthirster or like is a Vladimir, that's worked pretty damn cleanly. And with Veritas being behind, he's had to itemize the cheaper build, the static shiv into Last Whisper, because, you know, much less gold than Phantom Dancer or Bloodthirster, which he couldn't have afforded anyway. And it lets him come online a bit sooner, but it's just a riskier build in that he doesn't have that lifesteal and is weak to poke. But the items are here, so maybe that team fight still comes through for Vortex. 2 minutes left on that 5th dragon spawning. Only a minute and a half left on Baron, so that will time out in time for the dragon fight, one that I think Vortex needs to fight. But right now, Imagine have to temper aggression because they have Baron buff with patience on Dragon 5. Which would they rather play around here? One hits, one misses. That's when it's Veritas, but he's tanky enough with the early Spectre's Cowl grab. That Imaginary, they'll still grab turret number 5. And rotate over towards mid lane. That one was not pushed in yet. They did not use a split pusher, even though Big Ol' Ron had teleport. Imagine really not controlling their waves very well. They just sent 5 guys to one lane. Which, again, does keep them safe from getting jumped on unnecessarily. Another look for...
You got to soften them up before you fight, though. Chow, Wizardry on the wrong side. Wizardry, a little bit caught out here, but they aren't going to try to capitalize off it. Instead, they're just going to use Big Ol' Ron on the top lane, because Veritas, he's a big part of their wave clear right now. You're going to have to spend all of Gate's mana to try and poke. They get a turn for it.
Wolfie's health, though. He's down a half HP from a couple of Gate pokes. That is not a place you want to be in half health here. Dragon in 40 seconds, Baron timing out in the next 10. Imagine should take their gold from the 6 turrets, recall one last time.
Yep.
Get ready for that Dragon 5. That will be the fight that nearly seals them the game.
Vortex is going to get some vision control of the area so that they can see the entry point for Imagine. They get pretty much one last chance at this before Dragon 5.
Yeah, this is the last.
Oh, Gate. He doesn't have time to back.
No. They've got no shots left to stop the Imagine Dragon 5.
This is going to keep happening in Challengers. Every time Imagine takes a dragon.
I need to like memorize the lyrics and stuff. It's going to keep going. Dardoch getting hit up pretty hard. Does get away. Explosive Rocket does not land here. But Vortex are pushed away. Wolfie full health, full mana. Poke still landing from Gate, but Gate is which means no more Kog'Maw in this fight. Not really. A little bit of poke more from Jinx. 2 smites are on Vortex. Can they steal? Can they delay Dragon 5? Dardoch goes for it, gets Dragon 5. Chow flashes the wall to stay safe, but here comes the explosive cast, puts him back in. 1 kill picked up. Make that a second as they finally will try to knock down Veritas and Chow. It's 3 for 0. Dragon 5 on the field, in towards mid they go.
Big Ol' Ron looking to head this charge for the game-winning push here, but it's 30 seconds. They'll get an inhibitor off of this. They'll get a turret. I don't know how much more they'll get. Whoa.
Tried to poke. 7 times alive. But there's enough of a mini wave. Just those 3 should be enough to knock these turrets down. Keep in mind it doubles not only gives you the dot, but it doubles your turret damage bonus. So 30% bonus damage to turrets. Very easy to knock these things down. They can backdoor top. They can try to backdoor Nexus turrets, but with 10 seconds to go on the respawns, Nexus won't die. I think Inhibitor might be a better choice, but they are going to go for turrets.
Decisive call.
They're looking for Nexus turrets. Number 1's going to go down. Kog'Maw's up in 1 second. They go for turret number 2. This is going to be a little bit close. Will Wizardry buy enough time to keep the base alive? In towards Nexus they go. Masquerade putting the damage down. They're going to close it out. Imagine 2-0 over Vortex.
Another 2-0. And once again, Massacre, a great game from him. Wolf, another great game from him. Dardoch, not an amazing performance this time, but the team banded together and they played to their strengths. They said, this enemy team has a late game comp. Let's get these early dragons. And the 5th one paid off for them. It gave them that last push, and it forced the enemy team to fight them while they were more powerful on Imagine's side.
And I got to say, as far as being able to force the early dragons, though, I think it still comes down to the fact that Dardoch had some good early ganks. He got his dual lane of the Masquerade and Indivisible way ahead, and the hooks kept landing, the rockets kept landing, and that dual lane crushed it. Like Dardoch teed it up, and then Massacre swung it out of the park, and that was the sort of the 1-2 punch that kept snowballing.
Yeah, those early kills.
Yeah, and the thing is, we had so much over-aggression by Vortex as well. Like, a good setup by Imagine, don't want to take anything away, they earned that victory, but the number of wannabe solo plays by Vortex was heartbreaking. You saw, I'm blanking on his name here, Wizardry, sorry, 1-6-3 on Fizz. The guy was like 0-1-0, and like goes to try to fight the 2-kill Gnar, engages the fight himself, dies because Mega Gnar pops, which you can like watch the resource bar for, and goes, oh, you're right, that was a bad call. And it's like, that's the kind of plays that we were seeing from Vortex. It's the kind of plays we were kind of seeing as well in our last game when we were watching, I'm blanking on the team name now.
Coast Winterfox?
Yeah, it's kind of plays we kind of sort of saw Winterfox playing, where they're just like, they're doing things that don't make sense, that normally like a player wouldn't make this kind of mistake, and I know they're better than this, but the mistake happened anyway. And whatever the cause for that is, whether it's being tilted or stage nerves or whatever it ends up being, these are mistakes that you don't expect from players this caliber.
Yeah, that's true. Seeing him up in the top lane, he didn't even have a good performance yesterday. 1-9-8 on Rumble.
Yeah. 1
KDA in that really bloody game. It's good for him that he has 1 KDA in a very bloody game, but compared to what everybody else was doing for the team, it wasn't up to par for what they needed for a victory, is basically what it comes down to. Massacre, though, Massacre and Indivisible, the freezing of the lane bottom, setting up the pressure, and then the greedy back from Veritas for the Avarice Blade is, to me, what set up that big advantage. 20 CS up, he hits a power point, he gets to the point where he's like, all right, let's fight, gets kills, gets a Trinity Force really early on, and then is just popping him off every time he gets a chance.
Yeah.
Just Veritas really had a struggle in that game to even be relevant. He had the most gold on his team, but despite that, it was still very difficult for him to even play around these fights because of those early advantages he had given up.
Yeah, his 13,000 gold was the 4th highest of the game. 3 people on Imagine were ahead of him, so it's hard to have that kind of impact when every other carry lane has more money than you.
Yeah.
I do want to see some growth out of Vortex. We will see what happens to them in week 2. Meanwhile, Imagine off to a 2-0 start. A great opening for these guys, considering they're the 5th place challenger team from last time. So props to Imagine for a great start. We're going to see what else they can do for the rest of the challenger split. But for now, we've got to take a quick break. When we return, it's time for our final battle of the night between 2 challenger heavyweights. It's Cloud9 Tempest versus Renegades in just 3.5 minutes. You guys do not want to miss this.
Rocket? Oh, you go!
And finally, a kill comes through. Running a lot of good CC. The fish means nothing, though. Wizardry gets nothing done here. Big ol' Ron now is in the mix. Double stun. Goodbye to 2 members. This one, no, only 1 kill picked up. Big ol' Ron's going to go down to Veritas. Nearly hitting gate. But Chow just trying to buy some time. Masquerade diving in, but 2 crits will kill him. He's got to be careful. Veritas gets the trade kill back, but it's still a 2 for 1. But what else can Vortex really even do here? Heaven Time gets hit by the Xerath Q. Fight continues in the backline, goes Fizz, and Wizardry putting a kill on the board for the first time.